And that is that we got some feel-good stories from Phill Spencer. And let me tell you something, okay? I've said this since the beginning. Since the beginning, all right? I'm somebody who plays PlayStation 5. I have tons and tons of games on PlayStation 4. PlayStation's my main console. I don't actually own an Xbox Series X, but hey, Phil, if you want to send me one, I won't say no, okay? No, but on the serious, I was like, look, I don't own an Xbox because I don't have that many Xbox titles. I'm not as a consumer, the business model of the Games Pass is not something that I'm super interested in. But having said that, I've always said Games Pass is amazing value for the customers, and Phill Spencer is someone that I think has been a boon to the industry as a whole. Like, I'm definitely glad he replaced, like, whoever the other guy was there before, Don Matrick or whatever. You know, the guy who, when somebody asked, hey, what if I don't have an online connection? He says, well, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. It's just like, what? You know, that guy who was so completely and utterly out of touch that I was super happy that Phill Spencer replaced him. Yeah, Don Matrick. That guy was not a good person, okay? So, Phill Spencer, in my opinion, has been an absolute boon to the industry. And now, he's weighing in on the current Blizzard situation. And Xbox boss disturbed by what's going on at Activision Blizzard, reconsidering relationship. This is very important. They're really putting the screws on dear old Bobby. They're putting the screws on Bobby. Xbox joins PlayStation in criticizing Call of Duty publisher following latest allegations. Head of Xbox Phill Spencer sent an email to staff calling the latest wave of allegations about Activision Blizzard deeply troubling. As first reported by Bloomberg and confirmed to Kotaku by Microsoft PR, Spencer joins a growing list of developers, shareholders, and game industry executives speaking up about reported abuse at one of the largest gaming publishers in the world. This type of behavior has no place in our industry, Spencer wrote in an email, according to Bloomberg, saying he was disturbed and deeply troubled by the events and actions brought to light in a bombshell report by the Wall Street Journal earlier this week. The Xbox executive also said the console manufacturer would make ongoing proactive adjustments to its relationship with Activision Blizzard moving forward, but apparently did not go into any specifics. Dude, I'm telling you. It's like, look, I'm not going to say that Phill Spencer's our guy, because nowadays it almost seems like every time that we say anybody in the industry is our guy, they turn out to be duplicitous and whatnot. But at least he's making a couple of moves. And he's got a couple of more things that we're going to bring up, okay? I'm not just bringing up Phill Spencer because he's joining in on against Activision. There's a couple of more things that we're going to be talking about when it comes to Phill Spencer, which is why I wanted to give him a couple of highlights. These remarks follow a big California lawsuit in July alleging widespread sexual harassment and discrimination stemming from the makers of Overwatch and annual Call of Duty series. The more recent report by the Wall Street Journal surfaced new allegations of mistreatment of women, including by CEO Bobby Kotick. He reportedly told an assistant over voicemail in 2006 that he would have her killed. Yeah, we talked about this, and intervened to prevent another executive from being fired from the company for sexual harassment in 2018. Now, let's not mince words here. Let's not just say sexual harassment. Rape allegations. That's what it was. The news has since led at least one shareholder group to call for Kotick's resignation, as well as generating renewed scrutiny from the CEO's own employees. After staging a walkout this week, many in the games industry started calling for the longtime head of the company to resign. On Thursday, over 1,000 Activision Blizzard employees announced that they had signed a petition calling for the same. November also saw PlayStation boss Jim Ryan calling out Activision Blizzard's actions in his own email to staff. Spencer's criticism is especially notable, however, because some of the men at the center of allegations of workplace abuse were former Xbox VPs. Ben Kilgore, which Bloomberg previously reported to be the head of the most notorious group of sexist drinkers at Blizzard, while he was chief technology officer there, previously worked with Spencer at Xbox as vice president of Microsoft's interactive entertainment business during the launch of Xbox One. The Wall Street Journal reported this week that Kilgore was fired from Blizzard in 2018 after multiple reports of sexual harassment and failing to disclose relationship with a lower-level female employee. Vice has also reported that Derek Ingalls, former chief information officer at Blizzard, made a joke shortly after Kilgore was fired that people shouldn't sleep with their assistants, but if they do, they shouldn't stop. Yeah. Ingalls, who spent over a decade at Microsoft, was also accused of fostering a toxic workplace atmosphere within the live operations department. Dinner with Kilgore and Ingalls tonight should be fun. Seeing friends, funny how roles/jobs drift folks apart. This was in 2019. Mike Ibarra, obviously at the time, I'm not aware of how much of this was actually public. Another former longtime Xbox VP still works at Blizzard and was also in the news this week. Mike Ibarra finished this time at Microsoft as VP of Game Pass, joining Blizzard in 2019. Earlier this year, after Activision Blizzard ousted employees at the center of the California lawsuit, Ibarra was named co-head along with Jen O'Neill. Yep, we talked about this already. Earlier this week, Spencer has been outspoken since taken over as head of Xbox about making video games more welcoming to everyone. Also reflected on a sexist party Xbox organized at GDC in 2016. The networking event included women in schoolgirl uniforms dancing on. Good God. Good God. What the hell, dude? This industry, dude. Let's get some girls on schoolgirl uniforms. What the hell? Is that something I regret in our journey as Xbox? Absolutely, he told Axios in an interview. Do I think we came out of that experience better than we were going in? Yes. As a team, we kind of said those things won't define us. Microsoft declined to comment when asked by Kotaku about whether misconduct by either Kilgore or Ingalls was ever flagged internally at the company or whether it will open any investigations of its own in light of recent allegations at Activision Blizzard. I personally have strong values for a welcoming and inclusive environment of all our employees at Xbox, Spencer told Kotaku in a statement. This is not a destination, but a journey that we will always be on. The leadership at Xbox and Microsoft stand by our teams and support them in building a safer environment for all. Now listen, Phill Spencer, I like a lot of the things you're saying, but listen, guys, I think we need to start a GoFundMe. We need to start a GoFundMe to buy Phill Spencer a decent microphone because listen, Phil, listen, buddy. Look, the time of you using like whatever it is that you're using whenever you give an interview, whenever you're on screen with Jeff Keighley, listen, those times are over, buddy. Listen, I'm going to start a GoFundMe to get you a condenser microphone so that you don't sound as bad as you usually do in the situations. That's the one criticism that I have for the man. Oh, man. But, yeah, so basically, Phill Spencer joins in with Jim Ryan criticizing Activision, putting the screws on Bobby. But, like I said, that's not the only thing that I have to talk about Phill Spencer. Phill Spencer has also said in an interview earlier this week to Axios, Microsoft gaming chief calls for industry-wide game preservation. This is extremely important. This is extremely important. Because, you know, especially when you're looking at a situation like the one that we have right now with GTA Trilogy, where that game is complete ass with the remaster that they've done. And on top of it, they went after like modders and whatnot. And people even lost some of the mods that they had for the original games. It's like, look, it's made clear that not everybody knows how to properly remaster games. And therefore, games need to be preserved. They need to be preserved. We need to be able to access video games no matter, no matter when they were released. And Xbox has been, with their current console, in my opinion, Xbox has been an industry leader. And again, I say this as someone whose main console, like I said, is the PlayStation. I play most of my stuff on PlayStation. But credit where credit is due. And Xbox is doing a fantastic job with smart delivery. Like like I told you guys, the other day I saw a video, I think it was the Act Man, where he just straight up pulled up like an original Xbox game disc, and he put it on his Xbox Series X, and the console just freaking downloaded the game. And I was like, what? Like, pay attention. I'm not saying an Xbox 360 game. I'm not saying an Xbox One game. An Xbox original game. I don't even know how long that was. Like, wait. Original Xbox release. When was that? Original Xbox release. The very original one. 2001. A game from a console that is 20 years old. And you can just grab the disc and slap it onto an Xbox Series X and it just works? That's insane. That's insane. So, to me, they're doing good work there, and I hope that they continue doing stuff in regards to that. So, that is another thing that is important to me. I would love to have seen that on the PlayStation side of things. Not even for PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games, even though I know that for a lot of people those would be important. I started playing PlayStation games with the PlayStation 3. And I have a lot of PlayStation 3 games that I'd love to just be able to like grab the disc, boom, plop it in there, and it would just work. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen on the PlayStation 5. It doesn't happen on PlayStation 4. It doesn't happen on any of them. And that is very disappointing. Microsoft's Vice President of Gaming, Phill Spencer, wants the gaming industry to work towards a common goal of keeping older games available to modern audiences through emulation, he tells Axios. Why does it matter? The industry has big problems preserving its past as older games routinely become unavailable. This is true. And especially when like licenses become problematic, because sometimes there's also that. There's temporary licenses that then go away, and then you can't just like do stuff even if you want to. But yeah. Many games remain locked to older hardware standards, including consoles that are no longer supported. I think we can learn from the industry of how we got here through the creative, Spencer said, of being able to go back to past works of art. I love it in music, I love it in movies and TV, and there's positive reasons for gaming to want to follow. Exactly. Like, if I want to go watch the greatest movie ever made, which is called Reservoir Dogs, for those of you that are not aware, I can do so. As a matter of fact, I believe that's probably even available on Blu-ray. I can just go and watch Reservoir Dogs, On the flip side, if I want to play Soul Sacrifice, it's a little bit harder. That's a little bit harder. Not everybody has a Vita, Even the people that have a Vita, pretty soon we're not going to have a PlayStation Vita store. Heaven knows that Sony can't wait to shut that shit down. So, eventually there is not going to be a Soul Sacrifice. I wouldn't even be surprised if eventually that is just the case. But anyways, as I was saying, Spencer is advocating for an approach Microsoft already uses: software emulation. Emulation allows modern hardware to simulate the functions of older hardware and run game files or executables. My hope, and I think I have to present it that way as of now, is as an industry we'd worked on legal emulation that allowed modern hardware to run any within reason older executable, allowing someone to play any game, he wrote in a direct message. Microsoft's newer consoles, the Xbox Series and Xbox One, run huge libraries of older Xbox 360s and original Xbox games using this technique. See, this is a very good thing. This is a very good thing. The big picture: emulators are most commonly used worldwide by fans, preservationists, and pirates. They run games from original Nintendo era to more recent PlayStations, but there's no consistent use of them by the industry because of the, technically speaking, it's kind of legal if you own the original game and if you obtain files through because you need to get like the BIOS of the console from your console, and then you need to go download the emulation software separately. There's like all of this legal work that you have to go around when it comes to working with emulators. Even more problematic, the files needed to run games and emulators generally run afoul of copyright issues. There you go. As game makers don't support marketplaces for older gaming executables. This is the problem. You can't, here's the thing. It is actually the responsibility of the gaming industry to maintain this. It is literally their responsibility. They are it's not, hosts is not the right word. They are I'm missing a word, but they are the ones responsible. They are the ones who have all of this stuff. They are the ones who have to keep this stuff available for players to play. Basically. Big pictures. Emulators are more commonly used worldwide. Okay, we talked about that. Even more problematic. An example of how this plays out. An Android phone user can easily download an emulator that will run old Game Boy games, but Nintendo isn't selling that, nor do they sell the files needed to play old Pokemon games in them. Yes, but right holders need to buy in. Exactly. Microsoft itself just announced that the addition of 70 more games to its catalogs of emulated old Xbox games is likely to be its last, given rights and technical limitations. An official industry emulation approach would require long-term online support to offer game files and to possibly check if the user has the rights to access them. Spencer, whose own platform has some of these issues, still sees a path forward. I think in the end, if we said, hey, everybody, anybody should be able to buy any game or own any game and continue to play, that seems like a great North Star for us as an industry. Emulation isn't the only way to preserve a game's past, but it might be the best. Emulation is the path of least resistance for re-releasing games originally written for dead platforms. Gaming historian Frank Cifaldi told Axios, there just isn't a better way that is commercially viable. Exactly. It has to be through emulation. Because we're always going to have PCs, because PCs are used for, not exclusively gaming. As a matter of fact, gaming is like a very small subset of what people use their PCs for. People use it for office work. People use it for whatever. So we're always going to have computers. Therefore, we should, to some extent, always have the ability to emulate things, particularly as emulators become compatible with like Linux and whatnot, because Linux is more supported than Windows in a lot of ways, and you guys get the idea. Open source software, all of that jazz. So I like the fact that this is, Phill Spencer's like philosophy when it comes to this stuff. And then finally, one more sorry, we're showing that stuff to Eric's. One more thing that I like about Phill Spencer today. Phill Spencer, Xbox boss Phill Spencer talks about exploitative NFTs. Now, for those of you who haven't been following, the industry has been veering, I would even say barreling down towards NFTs. If you guys follow Kira TV on YouTube, you'll be aware of the fact that there's like God knows how many games nowadays. They're all about the NFTs and the blockchain and all of this stuff. And while this could be done in an interesting way, unfortunately, it has been done so far pretty much exclusively for the purpose of scamming. And it's like, this NFT stuff to me is just so incredibly ridiculous that I'm happy with the fact that basically Phill Spencer says we don't want that kind of content. He says NFTs that are more exploitative than about entertainment.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Almost the same amount of months subscribed as the amount of hair we both have on our head.
I have no idea what you're talking about. My head's got a nice bit of hair. I'm not bald like you yet, Q. But thank you very much for being grossly incandescent for 14 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. But as I was saying, so it's like this NFT nonsense has had so many people basically scamming other people, and video games come out just for scams. Very much like basically the crypto market has been used repeatedly for scams, pump and dumps, and all kinds of like. Look, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm too much of a boomer to talk about NFTs. I don't even want to get involved with NFTs. I don't like the concept of NFTs being in video games, period. Maybe there will be a time where I'll look at that and I'll be like, hey, this actually works. But right now, this is such a fucking wild west when it comes to NFTs that I just think they're disgusting. And I'm happy that Phill Spencer just came out and he's like, hey, yeah, we don't do that exploitative nonsense over here. That's a good thing. NFTs, otherwise known as an enormous fucking scam, hey, that's a very good name, are taking root everywhere where someone smells a fast buck or someone else is dumb enough to join them, which in 2021 is sadly a lot of places. So it's a slight relief, even if it's only temporary, to see Xbox boss Phill Spencer speak publicly on how wary he is of them. In an interview with Axios, Spencer says, "What I said today about NFT all up is that there's a lot of speculation and experimentation that's happening, and that some of the creative that I see today feels more exploitative than about entertainment," which is 100% correct. NFTs are about driving a wedge between morons and money and nothing else. Everything they claim to do for art can already be done by paying artists to make you actual art. Everything they claim to do for video games can already be done by video games, and grossly misunderstands how games are made and supported. Yet exactly because they are primarily about making money out of nothing, a disheartening array of major video game publishers have jumped on board. Of course they did! From Sega to EA, Ubisoft, Capcom? What? No way, dude. Capcom's doing NFTs? No. I know that Square is also doing them. Oh no, dude. Street Fighter NFTs? Ugh. Yeah, Square's doing it too. Square's doing some stuff with NFTs as well. It's like, dude, why? Why did publishers jump on like every scheme, every dirty little scheme that they can get their hands on, dude? Why do they do that? It's like, oh, dude, we can make some money on this NFT shit. Let's jump right in, head first. I mean, if we think about it, you know, Steam has had NFTs. I mean, they're not connected to the blockchain, but like all of those bullshit things that you can get on Steam, like the Steam cards, or like the thing that I got. I had this thing from Team Fortress 2 because I played Team Fortress 2 on a Mac. I got like these iPod earbuds, and everybody wanted to get those. I was surprised. Like, people were offering me like $50 for these fucking AirPods that I had that I could give to other people, and I just said no. I actually just said no to annoy the fuck out of people. I even wrote, I think, in my Steam profile, no, I don't want to trade you for my Steam iPods. Or NFTs, non-fungible tokens. It's JPEGs that are on the blockchain. So, like, for instance, I can take a shit on the floor right here. I'll take a picture of it, and I can put that on the blockchain, and it will become an NFT. And then the value will be determined by people who are buying it. Then I think there was a streamer who literally just like took a picture of his poop, and somebody bought it for like $100,000 or some shit. I'm not even joking. Like, wasn't it Pay Money Webby or whatever that sold a picture of his shit for $100,000? I think it was something like that. I remember seeing a clip about that, which is just like, there you go. Yeah, it's proof of ownership of a digital good. But here's the interesting part. Here's the interesting part about NFTs, right? I take the picture of the shit. I put it on blockchain. If you go to the blockchain, you know, somebody buys my picture of shit, which someone will, let's say someone would buy my picture of shit for $5, right?
Be so grossly incandescent.
You would be the legal owner of that picture of shit. But the interesting thing is, due to the way how the internet works, that doesn't fucking mean anything. People can still go to the internet and download the picture of my shit because it's still online. So you own it, but everybody else can just use it. So it doesn't fucking matter. 06MGP07, thank you very much for becoming grossly incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Yeah, you can just like right click and save it. But anyway, yeah, in a rush to make a buck or two from the craze, objections from fans and industry peers be damned. Indeed, one of the only companies to publicly come out in opposition to NFTs is Valve. Valve already has their own NFTs. That's why they're coming out against it. I mean, look at this. Listen, Valve. You can call yourselves all high and mighty. Oh no, you're going to destroy my goddamn controller. You can call yourselves all high and mighty, but like if we go, where's the Steam marketplace? Like, how do you go to the fucking marketplace? Your tags. How do I go and I see the items that I have? Because I know that I own items. Is it on the profile? Games, inventory. It's this thing, right? The inventory. Yeah, see? These are Steam's version of NFTs. Like, this might as well be a fucking NFT. The difference is that, you know, more people have them. They call them trading cards or whatever the fuck. Like, I still have, like, watch, my Team Fortress 2. I bet my earpod. Yeah, see, this? People wanted these. Like, look, people buy these for, like, €9. Damn, I should have sold to that idiot who was willing to pay me, like, $50. But yeah, these earbuds, people would buy these. But this is why Steam wants nothing to do with this. They already have their own version of NFTs, dude. These are essentially NFTs. Except instead of being on the blockchain, they're just linked with Steam. So, it's like, whatever. So Steam can say whatever the hell they want. That doesn't mean anything to me. We have blocked the sale of any games making use of technology on Steam with some very funny results. So the head of Xbox, and by extension the boss of the industry appending Xbox Game Pass, saying this in November 2021 is certainly encouraging. Of course, he doesn't come right out and denounce the whole thing, leaving the door open for some mythical future where they don't suck. I don't think it necessitates that every NFT game is exploitative, he says. I just think we're kind of in that journey. People are figuring it out. But as it stands with the type of games and experiences NFT hucksters are trying to sell this moment, it's not the kind of thing Spencer thinks should be available on Xbox. I can understand that early on you see a lot of things that probably are not things you want to have in your store, he says. I think anything that we looked at in our storefront that we said is exploitative would be something that we would, you know, take action on. We don't want that kind of content. Good. See? Not everything is bad. Not everything is bad, guys. There's still hope for gaming yet. There's hope for gaming yet, dude.